Hello and welcome back to another Magic the Gathering EDH deck tech idea. Today we are taking a look at Admiral Unsinkable. It is a 5 mana 3/3 and when she enters you mill 4 cards. And at the beginning of combat on your turn you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. It has base power and toughness 4/4 and it gains haste until end of turn. This Grixis tribal commander wants to win with an army of pirates to be the last player standing. Pirates that we want to reanimate are for example Broadside Bombardiers, a 3 mana 2/2 with menace and haste, and it also has a really powerful boast ability. You can sacrifice another creature or artifact, so Broadside Bombardiers deals damage equal to 2 plus the sacrificed permanent's mana value to any target. Boast is enabled as soon as the creature is declared as an attacker, so even before blockers you can sacrifice a treasure token to ping down one of your opponent's creatures, or activate it also in your second main phase. We want to reanimate Coercive Recruiter, a 5 mana 4/3, and when it or another pirate enters the battlefield under your control, gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature, until end of turn it gains haste and becomes a pirate in addition to its other types. With this creature card you are going to take control of your opponent's creatures over and over again, to make them not have any blockers and for you to also have additional power on board. We play Portraiser, a 5 mana 4/4, and when it deals combat damage to a player, untap each creature you control. After this combat phase there is an additional combat phase. But Portraiser can't attack a player it has already attacked this turn. Still, this can represent a bunch of damage, and depending on how big your pirate army is you can win the game with this card. We played Zara, Renegade Recruiter, a 5 mana 4/3 with flying, and when it attacks look at defending player's hand. You may put a creature card from it onto the battlefield under your control tapped at attacking that player or planeswalker they control. Return that creature to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. This creature card will give you additional power on board and also a bunch of insights over your opponent's hands. You wanna play Dire Fleet Ravager, a 5 mana 4/4 with menace and death touch, and when it enters the battlefield each player loses a third of their life rounded up. Of course you are also included in this pile, but if you are the beatdown deck who is currently leading with a pirate army, this can also win you the game. Last but not least, you wanna reanimate Angrath's Marauders, a 7 mana 4/4, and if a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to that permanent or player instead. Due to us being in Grixis colors, we need to ramp into our game plan because Admiral Brass is a 5 mana commander, so we play a bunch of mana acceleration. For example, Dimir Signet, a 2 mana artifact, and it taps for Dimir colors at the price of 1 mana, just as Rakdos Signet and also Izzet Signet. In addition to that we play the different versions of the talismans. Talisman of Creativity, a 2 mana artifact that taps for a colorless, or it taps for either color of the Izzet combination at the price of 1 damage, just as Talisman of Indulgence for your Rakdos combination and Talisman of Dominance for your Dimir colors. Along the way we want to fill up our graveyard with the cards that we want to reanimate, so we play Fact or Fiction, a 4 mana instant, reveal the top 5 cards of your library. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. Put one pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. This card leads to a lot of fun politics that you can do at your table, or if you're not into politics you will just pick one of your opponents and see what they give you. You play Ripples of Undeath, a great early drop, because for 2 mana you get an enchantment and at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase mill 3 cards. Then you may pay 1 mana and 3 life. If you do, put a card from among those cards into your hand. This card will fill up your graveyard rapidly, and along the way you can still pick the cards that you need from your graveyard. We play Buried Alive, a 3 mana sorcery. Search your library for up to 3 creature cards, put them into your graveyard and then shuffle. If you want to disrupt your opponents you also play Windfall, a 3 mana sorcery. Each player discards their hand, then draws cards equal to the greatest number of cards a player discarded this way. For even more game acceleration and filling up your graveyard you play Big Score, a 4 mana instant, and as an additional cost to cast a spell discard a card, which will most likely be one of your pirates, and you draw 2 cards and you create 2 treasure tokens. A really powerful turn 1 play in this deck is Faithless Looting, a 1 mana sorcery. You draw 2 cards and then you discard 2 cards. You can also flashback this card for 3 mana from your graveyard. You want to win more? You get it. Who could have thought that we can play Roaming Throne in a tribal deck? Roaming Throne is a 4 mana 4/4 with Ward 2, and as it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Roaming Throne is the chosen type in addition to its other types. And last but not least, if a triggered ability of another creature you control of the chosen type triggers, it triggers an additional time. Due to the fact that our pirates come back as 4/4s, they might not be the strongest creatures on the board, so let's build in some evasion. We play Wander, a 4 mana 2/2 with flying, and as long as Wander is in your graveyard and you control an island, creatures you control have flying. In addition to that, we also play Cover of Darkness, a 2 mana enchantment, and as Cover of Darkness comes into play, you choose a creature type. Creatures of the chosen type have fear. That means that they can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or black creatures. Alright guys, these were a few cards that I would play in Admiral Brass Unsinkable. Let me know down in the comments below which cards you would add to the deck, which legendary creature I shall feature next. Make sure to check out my deck list in the notes below, and then I would say see you in the next one. Goodbye guys.